So what if Sri Lanka also reaches that level? That means a dramatic change in the consumer behavior in the banking industry. What will happen to the larger banks? Of course, Sri Lanka internet usage is very less. It's mainly in Colombo. It hasn't reached the masses yet. But what if it reaches? What will happen? Then you keep on putting up branches like this from 200 to 250 to 300, and suddenly you realize one good day when you get up in 2025, customers are not there. Nobody is there. Why? They're on the mobile phone. M-banking, internet banking. So that's the danger of logical incrementalism. You should never confuse these concepts, but always Lindblom said he rejected the concept because it ignores the developments in the market. Ignores the developments in the market. Then there's another writer called James Bryan Quinn. He said Lindblom is incorrect. I told you at the beginning of the program, you have to look at the given situation. So anybody has a right to reject. Anybody has a right to accept the V1 strategy. Why? What did Sun Tzu say? Anybody can see the tactics. Nobody knows the strategy. So James Bryan Quinn accepted the concept of logical incrementalism and rejected what Mintzberg is saying. He said, an organization cannot dramatically change because they are based on a past. You have your own system, you have your own structure. You can't dramatically change. Then he said, have a flexible approach to change. So he recommended logical incrementalism. So in the exam question you can get, if it's there, it will be like this. Public sector failed because of logical incrementalism. Discuss. Discuss. That means explain in detail by argument. So you have to look at both views. One view, Lindblom said, he rejected that. But Quinn accepted it. Maybe both are right, maybe both are wrong, but you have to give prominence to the given situation. For example, banking industry started delivering cash to the homes of people. There were a lot of advertisements on that. Cash to the house, you don't need to come to the bank. Now, isn't it confusing with the growth strategy? One way the banks are opening up branches at a rate, getting closer to you. Other way the same people are saying, don't come to our branch. We will come to you and get the cash. That's the problem in strategy. You see, so logical incrementalism can give you complicated results, and the examiner wants that. Don't ever write that's it in this paper. This is a wonderful subject. It's fairly open. So I repeat, logical incrementalism, smaller steps, it might work, it might not work. For example, if you want to be different, if you want to be really successful, if you want to make it to the top, sometimes you might have to take radical decisions and take a risk. Let's say you want to start your own business. You want to leave your organization. Well, what's the argument? No, stay there. Climb step by step. Every 2 years you get a salary increase, you get a promotion. Logical incrementalism. Or you leave the business and start on your own. Radical strategy. Is it risky? Yes. Sky is the limit. You never know. Well, of course, Mr. Victor Hettigoda Deshamanya started the latter one, started his own business, leaving the company, and he built Siddhalepa into a multi-million-dollar company. So it might work, it might not. But just because he did it, you can't say everybody can do it. We know Mr. Upali Vijayawardhan did it brilliantly, but it doesn't mean everybody can do it. So the strategy is an open thing. It might work, it might not. The final approach is freewheeling opportunism. Freewheeling opportunism. That means there's nothing called strategy. Freewheeling says there's nothing called strategy. So what is that then? This concept says don't try to practice strategy, just believe in yourself. Anticipate the market and do what you like to do, and that is strategy. I repeat, freewheeling means believe in yourself, you decide what is required and you practice that. That means there's no approach whatsoever. Like Lakshmi Mittal, fourth richest person on earth, Lakshmi Mittal. He had a steel business, a family steel business. Still his two brothers are doing it in India. They're still at the same level. Lakshmi Mittal thought staying in India is not going to help. He wanted to look at export markets on steel. And there was a family dispute. He left the company, start on its own. Now he is the steel magnate. He acquired almost all the companies in the world, including the largest in Canada, Accelerator. So he called it now Mittal Steel. He owns most of the prestigious houses in UK and is the fourth richest person. Why? He believed in his instincts. So that is freewheeling. A person like Bill Gates, we can look at his success now. Richest man on earth, now is second to Carlos Slims. But how did he start? When he was 17-year-old boy, he saw a newspaper advertisement. AT&T has invented so-called computer. He had no clue about what it is, but he and his old friend Paul Allen went all the way to the headquarters of AT&T and said, we have a software. We would like to see your machine, whether your machine is compatible with it. They also wanted a software, AT&T. They allowed the young gentlemen, aged 17 and 19, to look at the machine. Bill Gates had no software, but he had a feeling, he had the instincts. He believed in himself, and most importantly, he has the guts. So they checked the machine, he spent several hours, and they told the AT&T executives, yes, our software can be used. Did they have a software? No, they didn't. Our software can be used, but we need 2 weeks to amend it according to your machine. And they were bold enough, they were strategic enough, and they were fearless. And they believed themselves, and they signed the contract without having a software. And they went back home, developed it day and night, worked so hard, they developed the first ever software program in the world called BASIC, Beginner's All-Purpose Symbolic Instruction Code. So this is how you practice freewheeling. Take even local examples like the past Navaloka Mudalali. Remarkable strategy. Coming from home at the age of 13 with 1 rupee in the pocket, you can read his autobiography, and coming to Colombo and struggling. How did he build it? Remarkable thinking. Gut feeling, fearlessness, and imagination. So this is how you practice strategy. If you look at the rich list, if you look at the richest people on earth, Bill Gates, Carlos Slims, Larry Ellison, to Warren Buffett, all these people followed their instincts. So that is what we mean by freewheeling. Richard Branson is another person who pioneered the concept of freewheeling. Failed in education, he was dyslexic, that means he could not write, he could not read, he got 0 for maths, he hated studies. At the age of 15, he told his parents, I don't like studies. His mother gave him £4 and said, you decide and do what you like to do. He thought the young people didn't have a voice at that time in UK. He thought young people should be allowed an opportunity. So he started a magazine called The Student. From nowhere. No formal education, no business knowledge, no tutoring, no classes, nothing. He thought, the imagination. But he believed in himself. He dropped out from the college. He started the magazine. But what's the problem? He can't write. His writing is so poor. His spellings are not good. So how could you develop a magazine? But he had the willpower. He believed in himself. You know what he did? From a payphone booth, he called John Lennon. John Lennon, star of Beatles at that time. And he said, we would like to put an interview of you in our student magazine. He put a title to him as the CEO. And he said, it's a wonderful magazine. There was no magazine as such. There's never a magazine. And John Lennon agreed to give this youngster an interview. You know what he did after that? He called most of the companies close by to the school and said, hang on for a second, we are going to publish John Lennon interview and it is going to be sold like nothing, this magazine. Would you like to put an advertisement? Everybody loved it. Beatles was above the roof at that time. He got enough advertising money to publish the magazine. He in fact had the interview of John Lennon as well. Remarkable insights of greatest people ever to be lived on this earth. It's all about freewheeling. So these are the approaches of strategy. These are the approaches. Remember, sometimes in life, you need to take your own decision. And sometimes in life, the ideas just come from a blue moon. That's the exact word used by Richard Branson. They have their meetings in swimming pools. They are very open. Why? They don't believe in wearing a tie in a corporate setup because the ideas don't come. Freewheeling meaning allow people to be creative and innovative. You go to internet, type Google Office. You see how the office looks like. Very open. You can bring your pets. There are all these suites and drinks and play areas. You can even play hockey on the premises of the office. And they can stay there. There are washing machines. And that's their life. Why do they do that? Why is that? Because a person can come out with ideas when you're happy. You can't come out with ideas when you're under pressure. And that is the story. So there are so many approaches to strategy. I will summarize that. First thing is the formal approach, which is called the rationale planning model. very serious, on the spot, you know exactly what you're doing, and you have a clear objective. Excellent, excellent. As a student, you need to have a clear objective. But there are a few problems. What are the problems? Too rigid, ignores the market, ignores what's happening, and it's too focused on your past. But because of that, we have the other approaches. What are the other approaches? Emergent strategy by Mintzberg, strike a balance between the top management and the bottom. Logical incrementalism, smaller steps, but Queen accepted it, Limblom rejected it, and then the final one, freewheeling. Just take your decision. Just take the decision. Take it. But if you're wrong, and that's freewheeling. Freewheeling says don't follow anybody. So in the exam, question can ask, explain the process of strategy formulation applied by this company. You read the company. If it's a small business, if it looks like Branson, if they're going for growth, that's freewheeling definitely. But it's a big company like Microsoft, big company like Nestle, then it's rigid. Big company like HSBC, they have standards, then it's RPM. A manager of a bank cannot have freewheeling, just give a loan. You have to go through the guidelines. So you have to strike a balance in the exam. Remember, there's no one way of answering a question. You have to answer according to the scenario. We will discuss this other part in the next program.